Well, hello everyone. My name is Dara Rath and I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. And each week I bring you a story that takes about 5 minutes to watch. And each week is a different author of a different story, different book. And this is called Sunset Musings by Bob Johnston. It's called It's All Downhill From Here. For all its lakeside appeal and rural charm, Saugeen Shores is not renowned for its hilly topography. Flat landscapes which once produced excellent tobacco crops and more recently grain, beans, and vegetables simply don't make good toboggan hills. The venerable sport of tobogganing, that popular Canadian winter tradition, has increasingly come under attack. Ontario cities have enacted bylaws to put historic toboggan hills off limits. A few years ago, Hamilton Council faced a $900,000 judgment won by a tobogganer who was severely injured while sailing down a city hill. Toronto once hired off-duty police to keep thrill seekers off at Centennial Park Ski Hill in Etobicoke. I confess to being a failed skier and a total incompetent on snowshoes. I wouldn't be caught dead on a snowboard. In fact, it's fear of being dead that keeps me off of snowboards. I do, however, take great pride in calling myself an accomplished and brave tobogganist. My long career on the slopes began in my boyhood in Toronto. Our family had a sturdy wooden toboggan proudly made in Quebec. It was a simple design, long strips of hard maple boards laid side by side and held together by several evenly spaced cross pieces screwed on top. The front end of the toboggan was curved up and then black, like an inverted letter J. A sturdy rope was attached to the front. My earliest memory involved a fast ride down a steep incline in Eglinton Avenue. Our father rode in front, my brother in the middle, me, I sat at the back. As we rapidly approached a huge advertising sign sitting atop two poles stuck at the bottom of the hill, Dad loudly screamed at us to duck as we sped under the sign. I quickly did as ordered. My brother instead yelled back, "I can't hear you." His broken nose healed after a few weeks. Oh my gosh. In those days, we were not concerned about liability. We accepted that there was an inherent risk in the sport, just as skiers can break a leg or hockey players sometimes get a puck in the mouth. Being unaware of a liability issue did not mean I was stupid. I always tried to make sure I was not the front man. The kid who sat in the front was far more at risk. He or she bore the brunt of that ensuing and inevitable blinding snow shower. The one in front also had to tuck his or his legs under the upside-down J. That meant there was a little chance to bail out when an unyielding maple tree suddenly loomed ahead. Our front man often ended up all alone on the careening out-of-control toboggan after the rest of the crew had hastily abandoned ship. Being the middle boys and girls carried its own dangers. Longer toboggans could carry up to 8 passengers. We would wrap our legs around the waist of the one sitting ahead of us and grab the boots of the one behind. Being glued together this way meant that if one of us were knocked off or bailed out in fear, the rest of the middle crew would be collectively dislodged to stumble down the run in a screaming pile of entangled snowsuits, flying boots, and knocked off toques. One of the hidden and unspoken byproducts of being in the middle was the rare opportunity to be that close to a girl without risking her withering glance. I confess to having looked forward to that pleasure. My contrast, once off the slopes, I was far too shy to make any similar overtures for proximity in fear of rejection. And then there was the back man. This kid played a crucial role. His job was to make sure each rider's legs were tucked into place so that there would be no drag on the toboggan during its descent. The back man then checked that the run ahead was clear. One final responsibility was to give the toboggan and riders a powerful running push before jumping on at the last second. I preferred that position because I would be kneeling, not sitting. It made for an easier exit as needed. The problem was that I would be the only propelled upward when the toboggan hit a bump. Now, in my sunset years, I can still recall that instant of skyborne trauma. No, my life did not flash before me. I spent those few seconds praying I would land in soft snow and not on those unpadded, hard maple boards. I must note that I am currently in full support of tobogganers, especially children, wearing helmets as needed. I also believe we should stay off dangerous slopes. A recent article in Montreal Gazette described an alarming increase that cities' tobogganing accidents were up this year. Now, many years down the road and literally over the hill, I look back on those carefree child days with such fond memories. I don't think of the bumps and the bruises, the frozen ears, or the sore tailbone. Instead, I remember those rare, perfect days, the sun shining, the snow crust hard and fast, and long hill beckoning and a big dog galloping happily alongside the toboggan as we gathered speed and together headed into the unknown. What a wonderful story, my goodness. Terrific. Good timing, because right now the toboggan hills are very busy around here. We don't have huge toboggan as he was saying, in Saugeen Shores, but there are a few, and so people are gathering there to toboggan. When I was a child, we lived in Guelph, and there are huge toboggan hills there on a couple of the golf courses we used to go to. It's really fun, and as long as we're safe, it's fun. So thanks for taking 5, and blessings on your day.